views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
And hello, welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host, Daren Jaime. Today we'll update you what's happening in and around our borough, as well as across New York City. Well, coming up on today's show, we go front and center, introducing you to how one organization is actually helping small businesses during the COVID-19 pandemic. Then also, we'll talk about how Bronx Community College's first degree program will be taught online. We'll bring you more information. We'll have the president of Bronx Community College here with us as well. And then we'll talk about how Ballet Hispánico is celebrating their upcoming 50th anniversary. You don't want to miss this to find out more about this thriving organization. And then a little bit later on, we'll discuss the essentials of entrepreneurship and running small businesses in the city. And then finally, we'll speak with the owner of Enzo's of Arthur Avenue about how the restaurant has adapted to the COVID-19 pandemic. So stay tuned, because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone. I am Daren Jaime, and today is Wednesday, May the 5th, and you're watching Open, a live and interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers who are watching on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is broadcast live simultaneously on the MNN channel. And then also you can find out more about us on our social media pages at BronxNet TV, and don't forget our website at bronxnet.org. Well, a lot has certainly gone on through the past week. Can't take you through everything, but we can go over a couple of things with our Bronx updates. Well, we kick off with coronavirus news, and if you are planning on heading on a vacation, fully vaccinated Americans recently got the word that you can go ahead and venture outside without masks under new CDC guidance. Now, the advice unveiled allows people who are fully vaccinated against the coronavirus to go maskless outdoors unless they're in a big crowd with strangers. Now, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio and city health officials had yet to issue specific guidance for New Yorkers, but the CDC advice has definitely helped out in significantly changing the daily life for many people who dwell within New York City. Now, the CDC is still recommending mask wearing for unvaccinated people who've yet to receive both doses of either the Pfizer or Moderna vaccine or the one-shot Johnson & Johnson formula. In other news, we'll take you to a new mural that's coming to the Bronx as part of a citywide program to promote inclusion as well as healing. Our BronxNet reporter Arlie Makoko brings us the details on this great story.
It's a mural that runs deep in symbolism, with a message supporting inclusion at a time when communities and cities need it most.
Our goal with creating this program was really to be an antidote to the hate and harassment that we see in our day-to-day lives. We wanted to spread a message around inclusive safety, this idea that no matter what you look like, where you're from, and how you identify, you deserve to feel safe. And it's on us, it's on all of us to create that sense of inclusive safety. And this is a beautiful way to visualize that. Sherry Hakimi is executive director of Gin Equality, the organization that created the Safety Mural Series, coming to all 5 boroughs. In the Bronx, it's here at the International Community School at 345 Brook Avenue in the Mott Haven section. That's where the unveiling took place, highlighting the work of Bronx muralist Lola Lovenotes.
When I was presented with this project, I felt an immediate connection, because this is exactly what I do with my art and with my teaching on a daily basis. So I definitely wanted to use that message, but also a lot of my themes are surrounding scenery.
And she wasn't alone. A group of students, including 11th grader from the school, Liz Beth, pointed out her contribution to the mural.
I enjoyed it. Over the last week and a half, these students have come together and they physically painted it. They started designing it back in March. We did some trainings and some workshops around inclusion and safety and how to end hate and harassment in our communities. And then they created this design.
With the initial purpose of the design to coincide with April as Sex Assault Awareness Month, Genequality expanded the focus while empowering local communities like this one, which is predominantly Latin.
I have a Puerto Rican background, so I try to include this very like tropical imagery that I feel makes me feel like I'm home, you know. And so when I was working with the students here in the design process, they are also many of them are from Caribbean countries, and just from, you know, it's international. So when we were discussing like what we wanted to see theme in the mural to make us feel loved and feel safe, they were sending pictures of their home, like of where they're from.
For more information on the project and for locations of the murals, go to genequality.org. For BronxNet, this is Arlene Makoko.
And thank you, Arlene. And that's all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We want you to stay with us. We got a great show. Open continues right after this.
When taking public transportation, don't touch your phone. Carry hand sanitizer and use it immediately upon leaving the bus or train. Avoid touching your face. If someone is coughing or sneezing, move away. Wash your hands with soap and water as soon as possible. Limit contact with poles. If possible, avoid rush hour. Don't eat or drink on public transportation. Keep your bag off the floor or other surfaces. Avoid directly touching turnstiles. Stay up to date with the latest from your local health department and CDC.
Welcome back to the show. WHEDco has a long history of working with local business owners around its Intervale Green Housing Development near Southern Boulevard. And in recent years, WHEDco ramped up its business support services in the neighborhood around Urban Horizon, in part to better advocate for the needs of businesses with the Jerome Avenue, commercial district, which is a 92-block stretch in the West Bronx. The city was evaluating for rezoning. And joining us to share a little bit more of the details, we're pleased to have the Senior Program Manager at WHEDco, Marco Castro. And Marco, glad to have you here.
Thank you, Daren. Thank you for having me on your show today.
Hey, glad to have you talking about a very important issue. When we talk about business in the South Bronx, I think that a lot of people can say, listen, Bronx businesses have had their set of challenges prior to COVID. And now with COVID, there's some additional challenges. But give us a little bit of the landscape of where we were with Bronx businesses prior to COVID and the struggles that they were having.
Sure. I mean, well, a lot of it comes from the disinvestment that happened historically from the 60s, 70s, and 80s that has had a long legacy in the Bronx at sort of downplaying or maybe hurting the economic status both for residents as well as the local small businesses. And then within the last decade, the Bronx was growing, it was starting to thrive, but there were still these challenges that were happening. Some of them were happening through additional political forces, including real estate speculation. So we have all seen how so many big development constructions have been spurring up across different neighborhoods across the Bronx. And while some of that is good and brings investment into our communities, some of that is actually making things a little bit more difficult for the people who were already living there. Oftentimes those buildings are built at levels that are not really affordable for the neighborhoods in which they are built in. And so most recently, the Jerome Avenue corridor, which was, as you mentioned, 92 blocks, was rezoned in 2018. And that really sets the land or the landscape for big, large-scale development in the neighborhood. But at the same time, it puts the community at odds with what's coming. So we are trying to sort of figure out different ways in which we can support the local small businesses, not only around Highbridge Concourse, but also in Cortona Park East and throughout the South Bronx, really, and the West Bronx, to really stay in place, grow their businesses, thrive, continue to employ folks on the ground. And we do this in different ways. So some of that is working with coalitions, so working with different stakeholders through different groups like the Jerome Avenue Revitalization Collaborative, really trying to sort of see if we can collectively have a little bit more bargaining power with some of these developers. And in that way, make sure that investments really have a positive impact on the residents that are here. So that group is trying to focus on employment opportunities, seeing if we can negotiate for local hiring whenever these large-scale constructions happen. So not just in the construction trades, but long-term.
Right.
And then also on the small business sides, making sure that they're accessing resources throughout different venues or partnerships citywide, and then everywhere else that we can get.
Margot, you talked a little bit about Jerome Avenue and the rezoning. I don't think all of our viewers may be so familiar with Jerome Avenue and the rezoning. Give us a little bit about, what the Jerome Avenue rezoning is and actually what impact that might actually have.
Sure, of course. So the Jerome Avenue rezoning rezonings in general is the process of changing how land use is utilized. So for example, going from manufacturing to residential. In 2015, roughly, the city started evaluating whether the neighborhoods of Highbridge Concourse, Mount Eden, and a bunch of other ones, University Heights, could be repurposed or maybe taken advantage in order to grow the city. So really the goals there was to increase the number of residents in those neighborhoods. If you've gone down Jerome Avenue, you've noticed that a lot of the buildings are single story, for example. So now the city saw that as an opportunity to build large, tall buildings, 14 stories, 12 stories, that could house a lot of people. And the reasoning behind that is really to, from the city's perspective, is to drive economic growth and to sort of at the same time sort of tackle the housing crisis. However, usually what happens when buildings like that are constructed is that the average rent prices are way higher than what's already in the neighborhood. The thresholds in terms of income are a lot higher. So in our neighborhoods, it's the poorest congressional district around Jerome Avenue in the United States. So median average income or family income is $25,000. But some of these constructions are made for people who earn $35,000 at the base, but really higher income, $60,000, $70,000, $90,000. And so it creates this dynamic where unfortunately a lot of our folks aren't able to access that housing, even though that might be their neighborhood currently. And so, we argue that there are better ways to invest in communities, investing directly in services for the local community, workforce development, for example, local businesses, making sure that they have all the tools and resources that they can access in order to survive and grow and thrive and get out of that economic situation that they were in the past and move forward with to support their families and the future of the Bronx.
And you use that key word, access. You talked about helping actually people have access to housing. I know also on the business front that you're very instrumental in helping out with access to grants and loans. Share with us a little bit of how you've been able to really bridge that gap for business owners, particularly during a time like the pandemic.
Yeah. So during the pandemic, everybody's been hurting throughout the entire world, really. And here locally, the effects were particularly felt in neighborhoods like the South Bronx, areas where the pandemic really hit hard, partly based on those political choices that were made throughout the last century, in the 20th century, that have really compounded over time and really hurt our people. And so what we've been trying to do is try to get the word out to as many folks about different opportunities, whether it be loans, whether it be grants, but then go beyond that and actually helping people walk through these applications, get all their paperwork in a row. And if it's not something that we do, we try to find the right partner so that we can connect people to that help, to that access. Our business owners are hurting. hurting. They don't have enough time to really even manage their own business and deal with their family life. You know, a lot of them have children that were home from school because of remote learning. And so that kind of created additional conflicts for them. And their time was super limited and stretched thin. And they also have this problem where, you know, a lot of them are not comfortable with using the internet, or they might have linguistical barriers. So Spanish, monolingual Spanish speakers who may not be able to really understand the documents that are being published by the SBA or other federal government or the New York State government or other places that might be of use to them. So what we try to do is we try to make that time and space for them to have someone that they can call upon, who will walk them through the questions in their language, on the phone, in whatever medium is easiest for them, so that then they can hopefully get access to those particular grants. So for example, the PPP loan, unfortunately, only 7% of South Bronx businesses have received funding through PPP. And all the 50 businesses that we've talked to that have received it from our different neighborhoods have received very little money. And so we're trying to figure out different ways in which we can get more folks on board to be able to get that funding. We're now starting to pivot towards the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, but we've had some successes along the way too. We were able to secure 5 grants of $10,000 each for 5 businesses in the neighborhoods that we work on, and that money was transformative. A lot of them were able to pay rent bills that they were mounting, or electricity bills, or be able to do some investments to build outdoor dining, for example, so that they could make their way out of the pandemic. But as we look forward, we're not out of the woods yet, and so we need to collectively continue to support these local businesses, continue to provide these services, and we're going to be hitting the streets and making sure that folks are able to access whatever programs come out as soon as we learn about these programs.
Yeah. And so before we go, how do people get in touch with you to be able to access some of the programs or possibly find out about some support and services, whether they're in the public or small business?
Thanks. So they can go to our website, WHEDco.org. They can shoot me an email at business@WHEDcoe.org, WHEDco.org, or they can call me at 347-906-2335. People text me all the time. We have a WhatsApp channel if that's what you do. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for people to connect to us, because we know that sometimes time is limited. All you have time for is a text, or technology might be a barrier for you. So if you're not comfortable with that, give me a shout, call me, text me, whatever. I'm around to help in whatever way I can.
Well, Marco, thank you so much for the work that you're doing with WHEDco and being with us here on the show, giving our viewers an opportunity to find out more about the support and the services that you guys render. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Daren, for your time.
All righty. Well, Marco Castro, our guest here on Open, representing WHEDco. Now, if you do want more information, we'll again give you the website. You can visit their website at WHEDco.org. Again, WHEDco.org. We do have more show. Don't go anywhere. Open is returning, coming up right after this. Well, welcome back to the show. The upcoming fall semester at Bronx Community College will mark the return of many students and faculty to the physical campus as the pandemic is coming under control. Now, in recent news, New York State Department of Education has approved Bronx Community College first degree to be taught completely online. Now, the Associate of Arts degree in Liberal Arts and Sciences will be available in a distance learning modality, even in non-pandemic conditions. And here to share a little bit more about what is going on at Bronx Community College, we are pleased to be joined by the president of Bronx Community College, Dr. Thomas A. Isekenegbe, and then also Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs, Lester Sandres Rápalo. Thank you so much for joining us.
Daren, I want to say thank you for having us. You're part of our family now. Remember I said it the last time. It's so good to be back on your show, and I do watch all of the clips, and thank you very, very much. I mean, I think you'll be more of our public relations guy for what you do for us. Again, on behalf of our campus, I want to say thank you very much. We're glad to
Thank you. Well, BCC is home to me, and certainly I'm glad that we can have the opportunity to talk about the great work that's going on at the school and also to give some highlights. So thank you. I'll go right at you, Dr. Isekenegbe. Talk to us a little bit about where we are right now, because we're talking about COVID-19. We're trying to navigate, but you're going back in the fall. Talk about the COVID, how it's impacted Bronx Community College.
You know, the last time I was on the show, basically this was about a year ago. Sometimes we talked about what COVID really has done to our campus. But I think I want to say we are, as Bronx Community College, a very resilient campus. Our faculty, our staff, and our students, our able provost. So what we've really done is to use the opportunity to seize on the moment, really, to really build on our academic infrastructure. So as we prepare to go back to the fall semester, we have all modalities ready for our students. We have online modality, we have the hybrid modality, and also we have in-person. We actually be bringing about 30% back of our students on campus. Thanks to the work of our provost and our faculty, I think we're really ready. We have a reopening committee that we have in place with 3 subcommittees that are working on all of the facets for reopening, which really makes it interesting for us. And I think one of the things our provost is going to be talking to you about is our new online degree program. But you see, what has happened is that the lessons that we've learned from the pandemic, from our various online courses and the different modalities, we've decided why not use it to build a platform for our students.
Right. And I want to bring Dr. Rápalo in and talk a little bit about it, because here you have the first ever completely online course. And that's part of really making the pivot in this digital divide. Talk to us about how students can actually participate in what you'll be offering.
Thank you so much, Daren, for this wonderful opportunity. I do echo our president's words. This is a commitment for BCC and our students that represent such a diversity student body population. BCC has received approval from college governance, CUNY, and the New York State to offer our most popular degree program. As you mentioned, the AAA in Liberal Arts and Science, completely online. How did this change access to the student? This approval gives BCC the authority to offer the degree in a fully online manner, even after the pandemic is over. One of the things that we did over the leadership of our president, Thomas Isekenegbe, is that we survey our student, and we find out that more than 1/3 of the students actually prefer to take courses online over in person. So obviously we do want to make sure that our we give the opportunity to our students to take classes online. Our campus is our home, but online must always be an option. The quality of the program, it's highest standard. Just to give you an idea, BCC has been delivering courses online, fully online, for well over 10 years and have experienced faculty who are engaged in building out this program. For example, under the leadership of President Thomas Isekenegbe, we appointed the Director of Online Learning to lead this effort. This is Dr. Jody Getman, who is a professor in history, but has a long history and background in teaching classes online. So we truly believe that this opportunity will give the flexibility to the students to take classes online, face-to-face, and hybrid as well.
Yeah. Dr. Isekenegbe, given the fact that you have these online classes, is this a sign of possibly more enrollment, given the fact that, you know, a lot of people will now have another opportunity to learn? And maybe I don't take the train to the campus. It takes me an hour. You know, maybe I got to deal with the Bronx traffic, but now, you know, the only thing I have to worry about is bad internet. So, you know, does this serve as a possibility that you could see more online enrollment at the college?
You're absolutely right. One of the unique things about Bronx County, you have a lot of people that have started their degree program, but did not actually finish due to life issues. So this particular program is the most transferable program to four-year schools. So you have an individual that is working, that has a family, that has other life commitments, but want to get a degree, so they can basically do this right from home. So you're absolutely right. This is an avenue. This is an opportunity for all of the adult learners in our county, in the Bronx, that have started, but actually didn't finish, as a way to come back to school. So we're really looking at an enrollment event for our students, but also realize that this is the beginning. We're also going to develop more programs fully online. I think the provost is going to talk about that too.
Yeah, I was bringing him back. You stole my thunder, but I'll let him take it from here. Talk to me about this, because yes, it is the beginning. You see it in this one particular program, but what can we anticipate coming forward in the future?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Daren. One of the initiatives that we're currently working right now with the faculty of BCC is to implement or to pilot the AAS in computer information system. We see the development and offering highly quality online programs as an essential way to serve our community post-pandemic. So this is one program that we truly are working very hard to get our ball rolling, because we do understand that post-pandemic we will need courses online, face-to-face, and hybrid. So this is one of the programs that will definitely benefit our students, give them the computer literacy that they need in order to become marketable in the workplace. And that is something that we're so highly excited.
So as we look towards the fall, obviously, let's walk there. You know, there's a lot of anticipation, and there's also a lot of worry. So what can students expect coming up this fall academically?
Overall, I think I want to assure our students and our faculty and our staff that are listening to this, watching this program, or that will be watching this program, we are really putting all of the finishing touches in place to welcome people back to campus. We have what we know as a reopening committee that are looking at all safety issues. We're looking at all of the facilities in our campus to make sure all of the HVAC systems are right. We're marking out all of the spaces for social distancing in all of the classrooms. We're spacing out the classrooms to sit people comfortably. So as we prepare for the fall, I want to assure everybody that we are getting ready. Come August, we'll be ready to welcome people back to campus. Talking about the modalities, you want to talk about the 3 modalities of classes?
Yes. So as our president mentioned in there, we're very excited and happy to welcome our student, faculty, and staff in a high volume, because BCC, as you know, has always been open. We offer classes in nursing, medical, lab technician, and so forth. So the campus have been open even during the pandemic for those particular programs. But moving forward for the fall, as our president mentioned it, we anticipated close to 30% of our student representation back on campus. So we're very excited for this new approach. And as you mentioned, it's an exciting time. It's a time for us to come together as a community. And we're really thrilled and happy, obviously practicing social distancing, following all the CDC guidance that we have. And I just want to say that thanks to the leadership of our president, we put those 3 committees together that will help to assess, provide feedback, constructive criticism, that will help us to provide the most safety manner way protocols that you can think of that will help us to feel safe in a learning environment back on campus.
Dr. Isekenegbe, the last time we talked about how BCC was able to provide technology for students, laptops and things of that nature. Are we anticipating, even though we are post-pandemic in a we've moved along in a big kind of way, are we anticipating that same kind of need for this incoming class?
Actually, that's a great question, because we talked about it, I think 2 Tuesdays ago in our cabinet meeting. And one of the things we were talking about is to set aside some special funds to buy laptops for all of our new incoming freshmen, all of our new incoming students. Say, for example, you come in and you tell us you don't have the technology and the tools to really work in classroom. We're looking for funds that would really buy those computers, get them ready, and be able to hand them over to students. We live in the Bronx. We know some of our students have those needs out there, and we're putting mechanisms in place to really make sure we deliver to the students. So that's a great question, really, because we're actually trying to look for some money to order some laptops and other tools for the fall.
All right. Well, we have to leave it there. Dr. Isekenegbe, Dr. Rápalo, thank you so much for being with us here on the set of Open.
I want to say thank you for having us, and I'm looking forward to coming back. Once the fall semester begins, I hope we can come back and tell you of our progress and things that we're doing.
I would absolutely love it. I think we need to know because it's important that our educational institutions give us a little bit of understanding as to how things are going. And there's many parents and many students out there who want to know what's going on. So definitely love to have you back. Thank you both.
Thank you. Thank you.
All righty. Well, now listen, if you want more information, please do us a favor. Visit their website, bcc.cuny.edu, and follow them on Twitter and Instagram at BCCCUNY. We do have more show. We want you to stay with us. Open will continue coming up right after this. We welcome you back to the show. Ballet Hispánico is one of the nation's renowned Latino dance organizations and one of America's cultural treasures. The organization brings communities together to celebrate and explore Latino cultures through innovative dance performances, transformative dance training, and enduring community engagement experiences. Joining us to share a little bit more of the details is the Artistic Director and CEO of Ballet Hispánico, Eduardo Vilaro. Thank you so much for being with us, Eduardo. Good to have you back.
Oh, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having me back.
Well, listen, you know, you come at a good time. I mean, the weather's changing, things are changing. We're headed for the great outdoors. But obviously, when it comes to the arts and being able to do what you do, you've been impacted by COVID-19. Before we do anything, talk to us about what it's been like for you trying to navigate your organization through COVID-19.
Well, it's been a challenge. And like every organization, you know, we had to pivot and we had to think fast on our feet. But, you know, we're smaller organizations, and especially organizations of color, have been doing this for years. We're celebrating 50 years of being alive and going through difficult periods that still are as challenging as this is. So while it is a different challenge, it is something that we've been accustomed to, which is struggling and persevering. So one of the things we did was immediately pivot to a virtual platform of schools, of our School of Dance, being able to give the classes that are necessary for our community, our Community Arts Partnerships Program, which is our outreach and engagement program, to be able to bring dance and dance classes into classrooms and throughout the nation. So we have all kinds of different programs. We started doing panels and talks as part of our 50th anniversary to be able to show the depth and breadth of the artwork that we made. We started doing watch parties with panel discussions, bringing back major artists to talk about their work. So it really turned into something special for us. And we just turned it around. So that has been very important. Of course, you know, we did what everyone did. We shrunk a little bit in order to now open up a little bit more. But, you know, we worked with our staff. We turned virtual, working from home. And now I'm in the office today. We're back. We're opened again. We're doing small programs with our kids. The kids were just here for a few weeks. Now we have the dance company in because we're preparing for a gala on May 27th.
Wow. So talk to us about the summer. I mean, you got we'll talk about the gala too coming up on May 27th, but I also want to get a chance to talk about the summer programs, right? Because now's the time. It's hard to believe, but we're almost right there in summer. You've been making preparations. What's going to happen this summer for you?
So, you know, we're going to try a blend. You know, we're going to do
hybrid.
A hybrid, right? but we're going to do some of that on virtual, some of our programs, and some of them in person, and some of them both. So one of the things we did while we were preparing for this hybrid was prepare our headquarters. So the right equipment so that the students can benefit from teachers being either in person or virtual in our studios, preparing the studios with the space needed, the protocols necessary for COVID, and following the CDCs. So we've been busy because we want to get some of these students back, and they want to come back. We have special programs like Choreo Lab, which allows pre-professional dancers or dancers who are just going into the university to work with choreographers and learn. We have Elevate, which is a program for young students who have never had dance training but want to be a dancer, how to progress them quicker. We also have our School of Dance summer program, which allows young students to participate in the myriad of styles and Latinx culture that we offer. So it's a busy summer. We'll see how it goes with the hybrid, but we're very excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, the summer's upon us, and I mean, you never know what to expect. I think a lot of people are in anticipation, but I think the fact that we can do things together, that's just a blessing all by itself, So for somebody who may not be so familiar with the School of Dance, I told them that, one of the best and largest renowned cultural organizations in the whole wide world. Give a little bit of history for our viewers who may not be so familiar with your group.
Oh, well, thank you for that question. Ballet Hispánico was founded by Tina Ramirez, an educator, dancer, and choreographer who wanted to give access to the Latino and Latina communities in New York in the 1970s. And so, in the 1970s, we were coming back from another social justice struggle and the cultural wars. So it was a moment where artists of color really started, putting stakes in the ground. Alvin Ailey was forming his company, Dance Theater of Harlem, and Tina Ramirez, Ballet Hispánico, right? So that meant bringing artists of color together to create our narratives and our stories. And so we've been doing that for 50 years. We have a professional professional dance company known throughout the world, international. We tour. It's about 15 dancers. It is wonderful works by BIPOC artists, all telling stories through a combination of contemporary, modern, classical. The genres are a mix because we are such a mix here in our own state and country. And then we have a School of Dance, 1,000 kids a year taking classes from 3 years old to 18, getting them on a trajectory to either the arts or a trajectory to go into universities with their talent. And then we have these community arts partnership programs, which is working with community centers, the New York City public schools, with a variety of collaborators to bring our brand of dance and culture into the community.
Yeah. And so a very special time of year for you as well, the 50th anniversary. And I know May 27th, we talked about your program that's getting ready to happen. We just got a few more seconds, but I do want you to let people know what's happening on May 27th and a little bit about that 50th anniversary.
May 27th is our virtual gala. It's going to be, you can join us at ballethispanico.org, our website, to find out more about it. May 27th is the premiere. It is a ticketed event, but just for that day. On May 28th, it's open to the public and free. You can see it on YouTube, or just again come to ballethispanico.org or follow us on the World Wide Web and social media at ballethispanico.org. It is a culmination of everything. Our students are performing works by huge choreographers. Our dancers are doing works from throughout the 5 decades of our existence, and we have special guests like Lin-Manuel Miranda and his dad, Luis Manuel, Rosie Perez, Daren Walker, Lauren Anderson. So it is going to be just a celebration, a toast to this vision and mission of 50 years.
Great time spending with you, Eduardo, and congratulations. I know, things are moving forward.
Thank you.
You've navigated. Now we can look forward to hopefully a well and a prosperous summer. Thanks for being with us here on Open.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me again.
All righty, Eduardo Vilaro, all the way from Ballet Hispánico, being here with us. And want to let you know, if you want more information, please don't hesitate. Go to their website, visit them, ballethispanico.org, and then also follow them on social media at Ballet Hispánico. All right, we're taking a quick break. We do have more show. Open continues right after this. And welcome back to the show. Well, according to the United States Bureau of Labor, approximately 20% of new businesses actually fail during the first 2 years of operation and 45% during the first 5 years. Now, starting and getting your business off the ground, especially for entrepreneurial and independently minded owners, is a tremendous challenge at any time, especially during a worldwide pandemic. Entrepreneurs, as well as small business owners, must invest their money wisely and consider all manners of budgeting scenarios. And here to tell us more is the president and CEO of National Retail Solutions, Elie Katz. And Elie, good to have you.
Daren, thank you for having me back. It's always great to see you.
Well, great to see you too. Let's talk about this here. It is a challenge, and we've been talking about small businesses a lot throughout the course of the show. And when you talk about small businesses, it's really hard to thrive economically. But as I said in the lead, a lot of businesses fail within that first couple of years. And I guess the real reason is why.
Listen, making money is hard, right? Everyone thinks it's easy to make money, but the reality is there's so many challenges, especially when you are a single operator or you own your own business, you're an entrepreneur. You know, you always look at these franchises and you wonder, why are so many of these franchises successful? Because they provide you the cookie cutter of, here is what your expenses are. This is how you do this system. This is how you make this pizza. This is how you make, and everything is basically trial and error from the company. And you assume that when they hand it to you, they know the package is already, the cake is already baked. But a lot of, America is the backbone is independent and small businesses. And we saw that during this pandemic. And a lot of them don't have the guidance of a big corporation or a franchise to give them, the direction and the tools to be successful. So they have to use their own money and try and fail or try and succeed. And there's a lot of challenges when it comes to opening and running your own business. It's not just turning on the open sign. Once that open sign is there, then you got to get the customers in, then you got to provide the proper services, then you got to make sure that all your equipment and the tools of your trade, whatever it is does well. And then you have to make sure that you're not overpaying for stuff. Or in many cases, as you and I have spoken offline, you're not overpaying for your credit card processing, basically having a little partner that you didn't realize. Right? Everyone, who's a tenant feels that their landlord is their partner and they didn't realize that, but okay, you accept it. You have a set amount for the most part of how much you're going to pay every single month. But with credit card processing, the better you do, the more money you lose or the more money you got to give away. So that is why we have a spectacular credit card processing product, NRS Pay. I'm wearing the hat. And as you know, our friend Mariano Rivera is actually the spokesperson for the company. And it's a very clean, easy to understand product. It's completely changing the credit card industry.
Well, that's one thing I'll come back to in a few minutes, but I also want to talk about some other things in terms of like businesses, bodegas, an opportunity to really bring business to the community. We're seeing an emergence of bodegas, but I've also had the head of the Bodegas Association right here on this show. And he says it's been very hard to really maintain business during the pandemic. You would think during the pandemic they're doing well, but there's still some challenges, but they do bring business to the community.
They work very hard. The owners of these bodegas, they're all different backgrounds, races, religions, colors, but the one thing that they have in common, and this is the commonality amongst all of them, is that they all are entrepreneurs that decided to risk what they have, get these four corners to try to feed their family. And it is challenging because if they're not pricing things properly, if they're not buying stuff properly, if they don't know their inventory, if they don't have these new tools, you know, everyone before used to be that fast service was driving into the drive-through. Now fast service is ordering before you get to the drive-through. And if they don't have these tools to be successful, a lot of them fail and they flounder because they can't compete.
It's a hard challenge. And I think a lot of people have to deal with the fact that you've got big business and you've got big business and they do very well. But then on the other side, you've got these small businesses and it seems as though they're handicapped in a lot of ways. I talk about COVID and, you know, how COVID has impacted small businesses in a tremendous kind of way. I also want to talk about independent businesses in the city. Give me a little bit about your take on independent businesses in the city and where they stand.
So I will tell you, and we have several thousand POS units. Our registers are deployed throughout the city, and these registers are helping these small independent bodegas, convenience stores, liquor stores, tobacco stores, you know, these corner groceries, not just compete, but level the playing field. And with that, we try to give feedback to these merchants of how other stores are selling products, how much they're selling for. These are the top 50 popular items. If you owned an independent, imagine yourself in behind the counter owning your restaurant supplier or from Costco or wherever you get your products. They don't tell you where to put it in the store so that it maximizes the eye level. They don't tell you how much to sell it for. They don't tell you, you know, how many of them to put on the shelf. They have very little insight that's given and guidance that's given to them. And that's why our register and our network is so powerful and popular, because we try to give as much information back to these merchants so that they could thrive and run their business and compete. How these, you know, you mentioned about the Bodega Association and having the owner or the head of the Bodega Association on the show. We have seen an increase in the amount of sales and the amount of customers that have gone through these stores during the pandemic. And it's been a significant increase throughout our entire network of stores. And we have over 15,000 stores now, coast to coast. We went in the beginning of last March from 34 million customers visiting these stores to last March, where we had 53 million customers visiting these stores. Now, granted, we had also an increased amount of units that we've been deploying over the year, but it shows you the trend. But one thing that has been so sad, and I'm sure the Bodega Association president mentioned this, something that's been so sad is because these bodegas are so convenient and they're so easy to run in, run out, not a lot of people, right? COVID, you don't want to be with the stores with a lot of people. Something that's been so sad, and I think I touched upon it when I was with you last time, is that not only has the sales gone up for some of these stores, crime has gone up for some of the stores, because the same concept of why it's so convenient to shop at these bodegas, because you can run out, has made it attractive to some of these bad guys, for the lack of a better word, to run in, run out, and do what they're doing. And as you know, National Retail Solutions, we're the only POS company that has a patent, a special panic alarm that when you push the button to open up the drawer, if you're being held up, it opens the drawer and sends a silent alarm to the police department to dispatch the police at the same time. And that's going to be coming out in the next 30 days as well.
Wow. Well, a lot to talk about. Unfortunately, we don't have all the time. We're out of time right now. But Elie, thank you for being with us here, sharing a little bit about businesses
Darren,
and then also the work that you're doing.
Thank you, Darren. You know, I love being with you and I appreciate it very much. And I thank you for the good work you're doing. You know, you're spreading good messages, especially at some challenging times like today.
Thank you so
and
much,
you're
Elie.
the best dressed host. I want to make that very clear to everybody. Right?
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Try to represent the day. All right, listen, if you want more information, please visit the website at nrsplus.com. Again, nrsplus.com. You can find out more information about Elie, what he's doing with businesses and also with credit cards and helping people out. All right. I will talk to you in a few seconds because Open is continuing. We're taking a quick break. We got more show. Be back in a second. Well, welcome back to the show. Enzo's on Arthur Avenue is a family-run business that's offering authentic, modern Italian creations made from local and seasonal ingredients. Well, for Mother's Day, the restaurant will be a part of the Belmont Business Improvement District's Piazza di Belmont on Arthur Avenue for the first ever Piazza-style al fresco dining plan. Well, joining us now to share a little bit more of the details is the owner of Enzo's of Arthur Avenue, Maria Rende, and we are thank you that you could be with us here on Open.
Thank you for having me.
So I guess the first question is, how does it feel being able to open your doors given the fact that we're just navigating this COVID crisis?
We're very excited about that. It's been something we've been looking forward to, and we're welcoming it.
Yeah. How has COVID really impacted? I mean, I know it's impacted businesses. We've had this conversation right here on the show, talking about how small businesses have been impacted. What's the impact been like for you?
Well, just like other restaurants or any other business, it's hurtful. It's been hurting us in terms of paying for rent and our workers. It's hard to push forward during this time.
Yeah. Well, I know you're excited that Mother's Day is coming up upon us. And as Mother's Day is coming up upon us, I know the Belmont Improvement District, as well as yourself, have got some very special plans. So tell us what's happening around Mother's Day.
Well, we're really excited about opening up the piazza. It's something that we really much look forward to. It's fun to sit out there and have your meal outside, and we are having a special menu for Mother's Day. So it's something exciting that we're looking forward to.
Yeah. And your customers got to be glad to see your face. I mean, it's been a minute and doors have been closed, then to reopen, now to see customers. What's it been like, the interaction between yourself and customers and the conversations?
Oh, they've been so excited. They're excited about coming back. They're excited seeing old faces, and we're also excited to see new faces. So we've been really thrilled about seeing all these customers just coming back and looking forward to sitting down and eating and having a good meal.
Yeah. And you've also done some things in terms of trying to pivot. Everybody's had to make a pivot, right?
Right.
And I know that you got Enzo's on the go. So tell our viewers about that.
Yes, well, that just idea came about when we couldn't have customers come and sit inside to eat. And lots of people were just doing on the go deliveries. And we decided what's a better time to have meals already prepared and on the go.
So what's been the hardest part for you throughout the course of this whole pandemic as a business owner? You know, I hear various stories from various people, but what's been the hardest part for you?
The hardest part is, which I'm sure is for everyone, is paying bills and keeping a staff and paying the staff. That it's hard pushing forward, you know, with that. But we've been keeping our fingers crossed and hoping for the best. And we're excited that people are coming back. And with that, you know, we're just looking forward to it.
Yeah. Have you gotten any word, whether it's through elected officials or other community-based organizations, about possible assistance for small businesses? We've been talking about this on the course of this show and others about how small business really needs a hand up during this time.
Definitely do. Businesses have been hurt so much, and we definitely need help, because it's not just about the business. There's many people that are affected in a business. You know, our workers, our suppliers. So it's just a trickle down effect that we need help in order for these businesses and these people and everyone to make a living and survive. Yeah.
Well, another brand new start. It's going to happen on Mother's Day, and the opportunity to have this outdoor dining for people who want to take part. What do they do?
Well, just come on down and, you know, make a reservation. Come in, you can sit outside, you can sit inside. We are following all the guidelines in terms of whatever people are comfortable with. We're very accommodating. So it's just about getting out there.
Yeah. And for your workers, your staff, the opportunity to hire them, bring them back, for them to be able to really earn a living. What's that like for you as a business owner, being able to say, hey, now I can be able to provide, you know, and be able to provide for you?
Well, one thing I've always said about Enzo's is that our staff is like family. So we're really excited about, you know, customers coming back and for them to have also a living. So it's been very important for me to help my workers in terms of giving them their jobs back and for them to come back and make their living.
Well, Maria, it's been good to have you here on Open, and certainly I know it's a good time for you being able to open up and get to outdoor dining, seeing the customers, and then have the great feel of outdoors. Thank you for being with us here on Open.
All right, thank you. It's my pleasure.
And I promised you on camera, I'm gonna come by and visit when I'm down that way.
All right, good. I'm
all
looking
righty.
forward to it. Thank you.
Well, listen, I'm a stick to it. For more information, I want you to get to their website. It's enzosarthuravenue.com. Again, enzosarthuravenue.com, and follow them on Instagram at Enzos of Arthur Avenue. Well, we've come to the end of our show today. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us, but most of all, I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in. If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the recablecast. That comes on Bronx Channel 67. If you have Verizon Files, it's 2133, or anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. Also want to tell you, if you want a brand new episode, come on back Friday morning. My girl Rita Valentine will be back. She'll have arts, entertainment, and the things that you need to know this Friday morning here on BronxNet. Listen, I'm Daren Jaime saying take care, God bless. Hopefully we'll catch you next Wednesday with another brand new episode of Open. Talk to you soon.